The SIU has just raided the offices of Home Affairs Refugee Centres in parts of the country. One of them is in Pretoria. It's also where we find Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, who's now engaging the media. Let's listen in.
He goes to another RSDO who writes that they actually that they qualify. So you have got two different reports about one person.
Minister, how many senior officials are being targeted here, firstly? And is it undocumented foreign nationals who are coming here as well and, bribing to get these documentation?
No, if you bribe to get documentation, it means you are not documented. It's true. It's people who are arriving here. When you go to a refugee reception center, many do not have documents. But let me explain it this way. In terms of the law and the policies we are following, if you arrive at the border, in other words, don't jump a fence in a clandestine manner or what. You arrive at the border, you say, look, I want to enter your country. I'm going to be a refugee. They give you what we call a Section 23 permit. It's Section 23 of the Immigration Act. It says, okay, you can enter, but we have got 5 days to arrive at the nearest refugee reception center, announce your presence there, and start applying as an asylum seeker. So that Section 23 permit has got a lifespan of 5 days. Then you must arrive here, or in Musina, or in Tebeka, or in Cape Town, or in Tekwini. And once you arrive there, you announce yourself. Whether you are telling the truth or not, they are obliged to give you a Section 22 permit. That is Section 22 of the Refugee Act. It says you are a bona fide asylum seeker. You are recognized as being South Africa to look for asylum. That document is official documentation. All of them are official. No police officer or law enforcement officer can trouble you. We regard you as documented. Then you start applying. The Section 22 permit will give you between 3 and 6 months while you are applying. If thereafter you are successful, you are given a Section 24 permit under the Refugee Act. It means you are a bona fide refugee. You are under international protection. You are recognized to be under international protection, having run far away from our country. If, on the other hand, you are rejected, then it means we have to deport you. You have got to start the process of deportation because you are not successful, meaning you are not telling the truth that you are a refugee. So it is those who are not successful who then get involved in this bribery situation.
Minister, just one more from me. Are you saying it's only those who are not successful? Because we've heard many stories of also legitimate asylum seekers who are also forced to bribe their way into getting papers.
Yeah, but that one is reported to be happening everywhere, even in Home Affairs Office. And I always tell people, don't pay bribe for something that is free. That one is a different story. I mean, why, if you are a legitimate asylum seeker, why do you pay a bribe? You are helping thuggery. I know people will say, no, they are forced to because there's inefficiency and all that. But then how are we going to fight corruption when you know that what you are doing is legal and then you encourage illegality? It's like on the roads. When you pay a bribe to a traffic officer, you are also guilty as a South African. Why do you pay bribe to an officer? Why don't you follow the law? Because you know there's a law there that if you're broken a traffic rule, you appear in court or you pay a certain fine or they give you a ticket. Why go and pay a bribe? So it means you are also a participant in the bribery. So I'm not feeling pity for those people who say they are legitimate. You can't be legitimate, but at the same time pay a bribe. That's not legitimacy.
Minister, there was a biometric system that was launched, I believe it was back in 2018, which they were saying would be a deterrent to officials to actually issue some of these documents corruptly so or fraudulently so. Isn't that system actually working as a deterrent to those who would be issuing these documents fraudulently?
Look, any system is as good as the people who are using it. And we don't have one system. We've got many. It's multiplicity of systems which we have employed to try and discourage people. I suspect the one you are talking about is the electronic movement control system. That's the system that records whoever enters the country. It's an automated system. If you enter, it electronically records your entry into the country and the time. so that if you are given 90 days or 30 days, we will know at the time when we depart. That's a movement control system. But we also have BACAM, biometric access control movement. Yeah, which in the past, I suspect you are talking about that. In the past, Home Affairs officials, to get into the databases, like the National Population Register, etc., to put you there, they were using passwords. Now, many of them will come and claim that my password was stolen, this and that happened with my password, and the case get lost. Now, we cancel passwords. We are using the BACAM, biometric access control. You must put your fingerprint. That fingerprint will record who issued this document. Exactly. So what some of them do, it might be a marriage certificate or a fraudulent ID or a passport. What some of them do, they issue those documents, but they don't open the system with their fingerprint because it will be recorded. In other words, they give you a dart, which you carry and say, oh, I'm having a marriage certificate and all that, which is a dart. And how do we know them? The moment we look at it, we check in the National Population Register, it's not there. Then we tell you, no, you don't have a marriage. Somebody cheated you. But remember, he will have paid. We said it's between you and the person who cheated you. You didn't cheat us. You didn't cheat us. You didn't cheat us in government. You cheated each other because you paid money and he gave you a document that doesn't exist. So you don't have a marriage, or you don't have an ID, or you don't have a passport.
Minister, you're live on Newsroom Africa, and of course we just came in a little bit late. If you could perhaps explain to us the processes that you have gone through to ensure that you search and seize some of the documentation in these offices.
It's a long story, man. They won't mind if I start it. Okay, fine. I said,
there you go.
I need to start from the beginning. After the advent of Pastor Bushiri, who, as you know, had got a fraudulent permanent residence document, while we're still looking at it, I received a petition from people who are working with permitting. Permitting are people who allow people to get visas, get in and out of South Africa. They wrote a petition to me to say the counter-corruption unit must stop investigating their errors. They call them errors. That's when I put that committee, which was chaired by the retired Director General, Dr. Kishias Lubisi. I put up that committee. It went to report to Parliament. When I looked at their findings, I was very worried. I then went to SIU. That's when then the President signed a proclamation that the SIU must enter. It was on the basis of what I saw from the Lubisi report. But then SIU was giving a proclamation for the whole Home Affairs. But at the same time, the counter-corruption unit were dealing with matters here. They made me meet a whistleblower. I went to sit with that whistleblower. After that, I said, no, this is very urgent and it's big and it's not something that I can wait. I approached the head of the SIU. I told him that I know the President gave you a proclamation. I don't interfere with your work, but come and hear something I've heard. I took him to the whistleblower and he listened. When he finished, he agreed with me. He said, oh, no, this is big.
What is happening, Minister, here?
No. He said, this is big and we need to come in. And they took affidavit from the whistleblower. They went to court to get a warrant of search and seizure, that they must search and seize any document or any gadget here which the people are using. And that's what is happening today. The reception centers are 5 in the country. One is in Musina. This process now, there's a SIU there doing the same thing they are doing here, searching and seizing. There's one in Cape Town, they are doing the same thing. There's one in Tebeja, they are doing the same thing. There's one in Durban, they are doing the same thing. Your question is, you mean what's the work of people here?
What's the allegations at this point? What are they doing?
No, the allegations is about people who are looking for refugee status in South Africa who don't deserve it, but who get it through bribery. That's the main allegation. Who are given status that they do not deserve in terms of the law. What happens is, if I have to start to give you the procedure, when you arrive at the borders, if you don't jump a fence, you are genuine, you want to come formally through a border gate, you announce to the people there who are managing the borders that, look, I want to come into your country, I'm running away, I want to be a refugee. They gave you what we call a Section 23 permit. It is Section 23 of the immigration.
All right, so that's the situation in Pretoria, more specifically at the refugee centre in Marabastad. In frame there is Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi.